Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? My name is Pulkit, and we will be getting started very shortly. In the interest of time, let's wait for a few minutes for others to join, and then we will get started. I see David is here. I see Caroline is here. Roya is here. How are you guys? And feel free to unmute yourself. Roland is here. I see you, Roland. Nice. And you got your background of your three sisters right behind you. And I see you, David, as well. How are you? So let's use this time productively. I think, I don't know, I mean, this is a very interesting one, but most people have, you guys may or may not have met. So feel free to unmute yourself. And ideally, we want to focus on three things: who you are, what you do, and what do you expect out of today's webinar? I see Denise coming in. So, and again, you don't have to, nobody has to do anything that they're not comfortable with. Generally, I do tend to, and Enrico, good to see you after 600 years. And Denise, I see you as well after, I don't
A
know how
long
long.
time. And I want to know, I want my marketing to work and the SEO to work, and so that I can retire, and I want to learn everything today because there's stuff that's not working. And you know me, I'm not happy.
Oh, well,
I'm not happy. It's not about you, Pulkit. It's just that it's not working.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I hope to change that. So,
Well, I hope so. I hope I can be retired from tomorrow. That would be really excellent. That's
so
my
why,
outcome. I'm just
I mean,
making a note whether you've been successful in this or not.
that would be good fun. But so whilst we have you talking, Denise, do you want to kick us off by introducing yourself to the rest of the
Sure.
room?
I'm my what day is it? Okay, my name's Denise Hachi. Hello. I'm calling from Sydney, and I have 4 different businesses that I'm looking to sell if anybody wants to buy. I have an agency, I've got an RTO, I've got a mental health company, and I've got a business coaching company. And we have looked at SEO and marketing. And the reason I went into agency was because nobody else was successful, and I'm not either. Because I can't work out what's not working. We're really good for other people. We're just not good for me because I still have all my products in the garage. So I'm here today to do a quick fix. Pulkit, the pressure is on you to get a quick fix to sell my product, physical products that are in my garage.
Amazing.
Okay, there you go. There's a summary.
Awesome. Thank you, Denise. Who else
You're
is
welcome.
going to be the next one to kick us off? Any
Okay.
braves? Okay, Roland, you're up next.
Hi guys, my name is Roland Vivias. I'm from GraceX, and we built a employee well-being and engagement solution for small and medium enterprises who don't have army of HR people on board, but facing similar challenges as the larger enterprises. And as just learned yesterday from another consultant from Victoria that actually he's successfully selling his business via Google Ads. So most probably I can learn something about that. That's my challenge for today.
Amazing. Thank you, Roland. Who's going to be up next? I see a message from Emma. Hi, Emma. She's from the Juni Hotel. We eat, drink, play, and sleep. That is exactly what I like to do every day of the. But that's fine. You can't speak, which is fine. That's all right. Who is going to be next to introduce themselves? And I see
can do it.
Shanta. Yeah. Okay.
We've got
Enrico.
a few otters in here, Pulkit. They
Yes,
won't
yes.
be talking.
No, they won't, but it's the note taker. That's all good. Enrico, you.
Hi, my name is Enrico. I have a business called Ionis, and I do basically consulting on business simplifications and basically making multiple system work as one. So with AI, automation, etc. Yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you, Enrico, and thank you for coming back to the webinar after
I'm
few
like
months.
a boomerang. You never get rid of me.
Well, that's not a good indication. It means you're not getting much from the first one. You've got to come back.
You always want to learn new things, right? So yeah.
No, it's all right. Pulkit knows my sense of humor. It's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So The last one with the camera on is my dear friend, David. You're on mute, David, in case you're talking. And David, by the way, is a customer of ours.
Oh, okay. So I can interrogate him. That's good.
Yes, that you can. Okay, so I think he's not.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. Yep, now we can. Oh, okay. So anyways, so David's decided to stay quiet. I think because of the fact that he is a customer of mine. I think if you're speaking, we can't hear you because you went back to mute. Anyways, we've got yes. There might be a delay. Is anybody else experiencing delay? No? Okay. So maybe it's David's connection.
Yeah.
I think it's David's connection, but I see a few people in the room. We are going to keep it nice and so Jeremy is here from Drake Content. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you for joining. Content, social, performance business, travel, lifestyle, and hospitality. Thank you for your kind words. Learning about AI SEO and bringing it into our service offerings. Amazing. And my colleague Ankit is also here. So in the interest of time, what we are going to do is we are going to get started. And just a little bit of a heads up of how we are going to do this. This is going to be a fun, chilled out conversation. This is the last month. We are approaching the holiday season. It's the festive seasons coming up. So let's bring in some festive cheers. And the way I have scheduled it in is I want to, as we progress into the webinar, the first opportunity will always be to the people who are present in the room. Once we've exhausted all of those questions, then we are going to go back to the questions that were submitted using an online form. There were a few brave people who decided to submit those questions. And then once we've exhausted those, if time permits, we'll go back to all the questions that have been asked in the past 1 year. But before that, I'm also going to talk about what's in store for 2026. So I look forward to answer. Keep it like a fun, freewheeling chat, as opposed to any pressure or again. Feel free to type your questions in, unmute, and talk to me. That all of that is perfectly fine by me. So today's topic is SEO AMA or Ask Me Anything. What's worked in 2025 and what's next for 2026. As always, this is not a sales webinar and I will not try to sell you anything at all. Before we begin, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which the webinar is run on and pay respects to their elders past, present, and future. We also extend that respect to Aboriginal people present today. A little bit about us. We are a multi-award winning digital marketing agency focusing on SEO, digital PR, and App Store optimization. And we do done-for-you services and consulting services. Most people have attended my webinars or they know me, but I want to do a little bit of quick introduction again. Been in the game for 20 years. Qualified network engineer by education. I build my own drones. And I also like to call myself a monopoly property investor. A judge for the top 50 small business leader last year, and also for marketing excellence awards by the Australian Marketing Institute. A certified practicing marketer myself, top 50 small business leader and top 20 Australian digital marketer to work with a few years ago. An SEO advisor for the federal government funded digital solutions program. And I also write for Inside Small Business, SEMrush, Entrepreneur.com, Mumbrella, Smart Company, and a few other publications. And I also volunteer my time for the World Literacy Foundation for their project Reading Out of Poverty, which I'm very passionate about. Now, again, I think this is kind of irrelevant, but because this is an AMA, so this is actually a template that we follow. So I'm going to quickly move. Okay, so 2025 is close to ending. We have more questions than answers, and today I will try to answer all of them the old way, which is the Ask Me Anything style. And this is how you're going to do is your turn, your questions, no filters, no scripts. Drop all your questions that you have in either in the chat if you cannot talk, or unmute yourself and then ask me the questions. To keep some decorum in the room, please raise your hand and then ask the questions, because otherwise what happens is we don't want multiple people talking at the same time. So over to you guys. No one has any questions. There are how many people in the room? 17, and no one has any questions. Okay, so I see for the first hand up. Roland, how can I be of assistance?
Yes, so realistically, currently I have a website which not even the Google Analytics is enabled on it, and we're still changing the wording. Once we have the right content available, how much effort or how long does it take to start appearing in the map in the Word?
Okay, so it's an interesting question. So there you essentially have two ways to do it. Either you can wait for Google or Bing or OpenAI to come and index your content, which they will eventually. They will. But that time frame is undecided, because when they find it, when they will do it, that is up to them. You can speed up the process. And the way to speed up the process is you can, if you have not done so already, set up your website on Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. You cannot do this on OpenAI, but set up your website on Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. Once you have set it up, then what you want to do is you have to, in Google Search Console, there is a blue search bar right at the top which says inspect any URL in your website address. It allows a maximum of 10 URLs per day. So you can inspect one URL, look at the indexing report, whether it's indexed or not, and if it is indexed, when it was it indexed. And there is a button on the top right hand side in the first tile or the first accordion that says request indexing. When you do the request indexing, it takes about 2 minutes for it to, and 2 minutes for it to go into the queue. You will get a confirmation message. After that, in the first 15 minutes, Google will do a preliminary crawl of your URL. If everything is fine, then within the next 12 hours, Google will do a complete crawl and your content will be available the very next day to be served on Google. You do that for about 4 or 5 URLs on a schedule. Say, for example, you do it 4 or 5 every week, and then you will notice your crawl will improve straight away. So you don't actually have to wait for Google to come in, and you don't have to do the special index. That's for Google Search Console. Bing Webmaster Tools is much, much, much faster. In Bing Webmaster Tools, there is a section called URL Inspection Tool. In the URL Inspection Tool, you paste the URL, and if it is indexed, you will show it. It will show you if it is indexed, when was it last crawled. If it is not indexed, you will also see that. The moment you click request indexing, again the same button on the top right, you will be able, within about 10 minutes, your content will be available on Bing to be served, about 10 to 15 minutes. And Bing allows, depending on the way or how large your site is, it allows a minimum of 100 URLs to a maximum of 1000 URLs in a day. So that's the way how you actually speed up the process. I hope that answers your question, Roland.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problems, Roland. Thank you for the question. Denise, you're up next. You're on mute. Okay, what I will do.
I couldn't find you. I've got so many things open. All right, I've got my list of questions here. So the first thing, have you heard of what's called a pub map?
A pub map?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called a publication map.
And what is that?
So basically, this only applies to what happens is it only applies to publishers. So say, for example, your media organizations or anybody who's actually publishing tremendous amount of content for Google News.
Right.
That's what a pub map is.
So do we use it or not?
you don't actually need to use it, because for your website, I know the businesses that you're involved in.
Yeah.
So all you want to focus on is on the sitemap file.
Sitemap file.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Roland might need it. Riddell might need another question. Okay, so another session. So how often should we be doing the Google Search Console, and how often should we be doing the Bing?
Look, if your URLs are changing very often, then what you want to do is, or if your content within that page is changing very often, then you would want to do it on a frequent basis, depending on how often you publish the content. Again, I would refer back to the same thing, is you can wait for Google to come and crawl your content, or you can have, you can do a special indexing request. What works for you? If you would like to see the results much sooner rather than waiting it out, then what you want to do is you want to really do an indexation request. But remember this, each indexation request on Google takes about 2 minutes, and it allows 10 max per day.
I understand that, but how often? Should it be once a month? Should it be once every day, every 6 weeks?
The only time when your content changes, that's only when you don't want to do it. If the content hasn't changed, then you don't want to submit it for re-indexation. It will just fail.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for the moment. And I have a list of others, but I'll get back to you. Okay.
That's fine. No problems at all. I hope that answers your question, Denise.
Yeah, it does. Thanks, Pulkit.
No problems at all. Thank you. Jeremy.
Hi, Pulkit. I know we have a catch up later, but I have a question for the group. Digital PR. Is that just a new fancy word for link building? And why has it become so important now for LLMs? The reason I ask is because prior to running a performance agency with 10 people in Melbourne now, I was in PR, storytelling, journalism. So I'm just curious about its role and how we've sort of come full circle now, where PR was this once vanity metric and now is being dressed up as basically better link building in SEO.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Jeremy. The short answer is yes, digital PR is the new link building. And the reason why that has happened is because I'll give you another example. And again, I don't want to give out any names here, but all major publishers out there, they charge you crazy money for one backlink. And the legislation has changed. So what happens is, if they are selling the backlink, they have to mark it as a sponsored content. Within the link setup, they mark it as sponsored, which results in no link juice being passed on as a part of that payment that goes away. I have seen a quote of $2,900 for one backlink from a very reputable American website. Now, I don't know a lot of businesses, even multinational companies, that are willing to spend that kind of money on a single backlink. So digital PR, what digital PR does is it basically allows you to earn the backlinks from the media sites. Now, when I say media sites, it's actually a wrong term. I would probably say you can think of digital PR as, say, for example, if an influencer puts it up on their, if they have a website, they put it up on their website. That could be considered a media site. The other media site that you could think of is very popular blogs. They are a good one out there. Sites that publish listicle type articles, but they are not a traditional PR article. I'll give you an example again. In the legal space, there is a very popular website called Doyle's Guide. They are not a media organization. They just do listicle type articles. But in the legal space, their content is heavily referenced by LLMs in the form of Gemini or OpenAI or Grok or even Copilot. Now, when the second answer to your question is, when these LLMs or are trying to give you an answer to your prompt, they are not looking at one source of information or 2 or 3 or 4 sources of information. They're actually looking at a lot of information from a variety of sources. So say, for example, if I do a search for best divorce lawyer right now, on any one of the LLM tools out there. So it is going to collect a lot of information from the web, but on top of, even within the web, it's going to look at information on what's published on individual websites and what others are saying about other websites or other businesses. You could think of it as query fan out, which is subqueries. And the way to identify those is using, if you use a deep research mode in either ChatGPT or OpenAI or Gemini or in Perplexity, if you click on show thinking, you will be able to see the type of subqueries or sub searches that these LLMs are running. And a lot of times they're looking at reputable media organizations because they have that authority, editorial authority. And if they are saying something, that's why digital PR is a bit more fancy now. I hope that answers your question, Jeremy.
Yep, great.
Awesome. Any other questions, anyone? Because I have collected a list of a lot of questions from everyone. Okay, so I don't see any hand up right now, which is fine. So that means I will keep an eye on this, but that means we're going to go to the questions that were submitted. And one more request, if everybody could, you know what? I've just muted everyone, just for the interest of everyone. Right, so let's keep on going. And I'll keep an eye. If anyone has any questions, then we will answer them. So these were some of the questions that were submitted beforehand. And which was this question is from Nick Belgrove. I think he just had to step outside. He was here just now. On any early insights on AI search optimization for YouTube or LinkedIn. Now, one of the things that we have identified, and we've seen this quite often, is how many, let's have a little bit of a show of hands. Does anyone know of LinkedIn newsletters? So LinkedIn newsletters, it's called LinkedIn Pulse. Amazing. So in the LinkedIn newsletters, that content gets cited directly into LLMs. Now, just before this webinar, I actually spent some time looking at the robots.txt file of YouTube. So the biggest video platform that exists out on the web is YouTube. There could be Dailymotion or there could be Vimeo as well, but the most popular is YouTube out there. And I was inspecting the robots.txt file of YouTube. Funnily enough, they have actually blocked everyone to crawl their website. They blocked all crawlers to come and crawl their website, which is quite interesting because if the crawlers can't crawl it, they can't serve the content. The only way they can get away with it is probably when people are sharing links directly within the LLMs. But I cannot answer the question about LinkedIn. I can give you an answer on, I can answer the question on YouTube. The best way to do a YouTube optimization, and I think this is something that we should do. What I will do is I will work on a cheat sheet. We have a little what is called a cheat sheet that we work on for YouTube optimization. I'm happy to share it with the team at large or people present here so that they can actually use it. But pay a very close attention to YouTube auto suggest. Does anyone know what YouTube auto suggest is? Perfect, awesome. So I see some nods and some nas, eyes and nas. So just for people who don't know what YouTube auto suggest is, as you type is in the YouTube search, as you are typing into search for a video, there is a drop down. And that drop down tells you the amount of the most popular related searches that people are doing when it comes to YouTube. And you can think of it more of it as a clickbait style headline. Sometimes does a really good job when it comes to YouTube. So that's the answer. Any particular, if Gemini, again, it goes back to the same thing. So YouTube content gets served on Google, primary Google search engine, and also on Gemini or AI mode or AI overviews. Then you want to follow the same best SEO practices. to make sure that your content actually answers. Have a description, have the timestamps in place. All of those things are very, very, very important. We published a video recently, a couple of months, I think last month we published a video, and it was really less than 30 seconds long. And it was just a crazy video, and that had the highest views of all time, which doesn't make any sense. It was just just doesn't make any sense. But the idea is, uh, look at your YouTube auto suggest, have a professionally done video, have a proper description updated, have timestamps in place, and you will be just fine. Denise, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Pulkit, because you raised an important question around the LinkedIn pulse. I often get asked to write things. You know, they send me something to write, and I do write something. I don't know what happens to it after that.
Well, if they haven't, the first thing that I would probably do is check whether they've actually published it or not.
Okay.
If they have published it, then generally what happens is that it goes out to everyone who is subscribed to the newsletter straight away. And LinkedIn Pulse is publicly crawlable. So Google, your Bing, your OpenAI, all of those guys are actually crawling those LinkedIn Pulse newsletters as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
they
So I
get
should
served.
respond to them. So I have done a couple of times, but it's useful to keep that up.
Yes, ideally
Yeah.
you
Okay.
should.
Okay.
Ideally you should. It's just like any other marketing practice. Like, think about this. You know how, and I'm pretty confident all of us at some stage had a Twitter account, and I believe over 95% of them are not using the Twitter account right now.
Right.
So, and they still have a Twitter link on their website. Again, it does not serve any justice, because if people are looking at you and if they look at a platform which you have not posted on in like 3 years' time, why just have it there? Just get rid of it. It's probably
Right.
detrimental to your business, actually.
Okay. And I have another question there. The Google My Business. How useful is that? The Google My Business profile. How useful is it?
So Google My Business, or it's actually now called Google Business Profile for the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Google Business Profile is extremely important for local businesses.
All right.
Now,
Okay.
there is a very interesting one. This is a very interesting point you raised. I'm not sure if you watched the Current Affair or not, but a Current Affair did a story on Google Business Profile, and there is a massive scam going around. So just be very careful of that. And I wrote an op-ed on, I think,
Oh,
smart
yes, the
company.
reviews. Someone got a terrible 1-star review by the bots. Yes,
Bingo.
I did see it. Yes.
Yes, and usually the cost of one fake review is $5. And you as a business, so my advice is, yes, Google Business Profile is important, but I would suggest to not rely fully on Google reviews, because on an average we get 3 phone calls every week where people have lost their reviews and they want us to recover it for them, because it's an automated process from Google. So, look at sites like Trustpilot, or there are variety of other, depending on the industry of the client, there might be specific sites like Product Review or House, which get equal authority, or Yelp, which get equal authority on Google. In fact, you raised an interesting one. I was actually doing some research on a financial advisor yesterday, and I came across a specific review sites that was being referenced by LLMs, which is only applicable to the financial advisory industry only. So focusing on industry specific reviews can do a much better job. Yes, you need some Google reviews, but not all on Google. I hope that answers your question, Denise. Roland.
Yeah, just an interesting point for the LinkedIn newsletter. So would you recommend because currently we are publishing roughly fortnightly or monthly one blog on our website. So just to channel that one into the LinkedIn newsletter as well. In this case, that would expand the audience.
100%. 100%. Let me
So
put
I've
it this
learned
way.
already. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I'll give you Another thing, I won't put any names out here, but we are doing it for one of our clients. So when they publish on LinkedIn, we publish a blog post, simultaneously time it, and then we push it out via Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools on the very same day. So within about 6 hours, that content ranks really well. Usually within the top, within AI overviews, AI mode, or in Bing, it's usually ranking in the top 1 or 2 results within hours. So I hope that answers your question, Roland.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate that.
No problems at all. So let's.
I have a follow-up question there. So did you mean that you publish the same content in 2 different places, LinkedIn and also the website, or no?
No, it's similar theme, but different content.
Okay. Because
So
otherwise, yeah, you get problems if you create the same content in 2 different places, right?
No, so one supports the other. So we basically link both ways.
Okay.
From the blog, we send them to LinkedIn, and from LinkedIn, we send them to the blog.
Okay. And it's
And it
slightly
doesn't.
different content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from the blog, we send them to different parts of the website, push them out to the lead magnets, or whatever we want to do with them.
Okay. Thank you.
No problems at all. So let's keep on going. I see no more hands up. Okay. Again, this is the same question from Nick. He is experimenting with YouTube SEO using AI tools, but haven't found a winning formula yet. Any guidance? Now, one of the things Nick is right here. So maybe perhaps you can expand onto your question, Nick. We were just going through your question right here.
Sure. Can you hear me okay? I've been struggling
Loud
with
and
tech issues on this end.
loud
Oh,
and clear.
fantastic. Yeah, well, yeah, so sort of managed to get through sort of the standard search, but I'm noticing a hell of a lot more, certainly through since the introduction of AI through from the 8th, that YouTube's featuring, more and more. So I've been playing around with YouTube. I still haven't quite got that sort of nutted out, but yeah, very open to any thoughts and suggestions in that space.
Okay, thank you, Nick, for the question. And I think I did cover it up, I think, before whilst you were having some tech issues. I think the stuff that you want to focus on is from a research point of view, was from a YouTube auto suggest is going to be very important. The quality of your video or video content is going to be equally important. Your description of the video and your timestamps, those 4 things are non-negotiable, and your title of the video, they are non-negotiable. Again, you would not want to follow their guidelines in the form of some videos. If you tag them up as made safe for kids, that means if kids are a part of the video, people think that made safe for kids actually mean that this video is good for kids, but is actually if they're a part of the actual video, if kids are a part of the video on content, that's when you say made safe for kids. So a lot of these, and uploading the captions are going to be equally important. Thumbnails really important, because the first thing that people are going to see once they do the search is the thumbnail, and the next thing that they're going to do is look at the text. So your
它不是已
thumbnail
经
file
附条了
names,
吗？它已经
your
附条了，那直接 pick out 就行了吧？
your thumbnail file names, and
不是，
then
它有个
your
receipt，
okay, everyone's on mute again. Your thumbnail file names is going to be important, and your titles are going to be equally important. 4K video, but I'm going to prepare a cheat sheet. We actually have a cheat sheet internally that we use for YouTube. I'm more than happy to share it as a downloadable resource to everyone in the room present here today. Nick.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, something I found was that manually putting in the chapters with the timestamp seemed to work certainly better than the using the the auto functionality. For
Yeah.
some reason, I say I haven't figured out quite why yet, but that's definitely one of the things that I've sort of discovered so far that's made a difference.
Yes, it does. And look, the only issue is that depending on the length of the video, the chapters, identifying and creating those chapters could take forever. So it's a lot of work getting it up and running first. But if you have it right, then you will have. But there's another thing. Has anyone heard of LinkedIn posts? So LinkedIn now, sorry, not LinkedIn posts. What am I talking about? YouTube posts. I was going to say YouTube and I ended up saying LinkedIn. Sorry, YouTube posts. So you can actually now have posts on YouTube as well. And they work very similar to what Google Business Profile ad updates are. Very similar. So if you have not seen it, I would suggest if you run a channel, either for yourself or for a client, make sure you spend some time looking at it and optimizing it, having some updates, pointing them to the videos, to some of the video content that you have published. That is going to be most helpful. And Nick, one of the things that I did mention was I was actually inspecting the robots.txt file of YouTube just before I came onto this webinar. And the answer is they've blocked every crawler. So it's a disallow all. So when it comes to OpenAI, the only content they are allowing is to their own sister sites, which is google.com. So the other thing that I would also suggest, and again, this is a bit of a issue here. If you're posting content on YouTube, and which is a very common practice, and then referencing it on your website, you can't get any analytics. So no analytics, because it merges as a part of your YouTube analytics. So be very careful, host it on your own website. That would be heaps better as opposed to putting it up on YouTube and then you lose the analytic value of it. So that's just my 2 cents. Anyways, I don't see any more hands up, so we will keep on going. So these are some of the questions from 2025 that we've received. So the first one was received from Haluk on digital PR, whether links from platforms like Medium or Substack count as real backlinks. So the short answer is no. They're counted as a mention, but all Medium and Substack links are no followed by default. So it's a public, think about this, Medium and Substack is what blogger.com or blogpost.com used to be 15 years ago. Exactly the same. There's no difference in the value of the links over there. And the other question, which is the next question that we received was from where should I publish press releases for SEO value? This is an interesting question. You will need to use a distribution model. I would suggest I would suggest you don't use a free distribution because it does not take you anywhere. Depending on your target market and your audience, you want to identify distribution platforms like, say, for example, Cision's PR Newswire is a good one, a little bit on the pricier side. If you're going after the overseas market like Americas, then you want to use Muckrack. They have a really good one in Australia. MediaNet is a really good one. So these are some of the distribution platforms that you can use to distribute your press releases. Sorry, Jeremy, I see your hand up. How can I be of assistance?
What about other proprietary pieces of SaaS software that you can use to track or work on potential contacts to reach out to, or journalists or writers? Have you come across any of those?
Yeah, so there are multiple of those. So in Australia, there is a MediaNet is a good one out there. Medianet.com.au, that's a good one. It's a bit on the pricier side, but it's really good for Australia specific. If you want to go after the overseas, generally, Muckrack has everyone, but Muckrack is not cheap either. I mean, it's much more expensive than MediaNet, but it has got journalists and influencers and their agencies from global. So your UK, your US, your New Zealand, depending on where you want to approach, it might be a big value for you if you decide to go with Muckrack. Muckrack is a good one, and MediaNet is another one for Australia specific only. I hope that answers your question, Jeremy. Awesome. So then the other question again came from Basima. How does my company actually get a backlink from a PR article, and what does that process look like? It's actually pretty straightforward. Now we have, as an agency, we have found tremendous success in data-driven reports. And we do this quite often, and we have found it extreme success with data-driven reports. We identify data sources. We put our own intelligence into it. We do our own interpretation, publish data-driven reports, create a press release, send it out to the media, and then depending on your clickbaity headlines, you may be able to get more press much faster. And sometimes you time it up as well. Like, for example, I want to cite a couple of really good examples here. One of them was a campaign we did last year. It was called the Greenest Suburbs. This was for a solar company. And why that campaign stood out is because the traditional definition of how green a suburb is depends on the tree canopy cover. So we actually flipped that definition and we changed the definition to greenest suburbs by renewable energy. And that campaign got 45 backlinks in less than 30 days and TV, print, and media coverage. So the process was same. We identified the data sources. We have a webinar coming up on digital PR in the next couple of months. The next webinar is on digital PR, and we're going to discuss that process in detail. But ideally, data, you want to back it up to a report, and the media sites will link back to the report, which actually flows onto your website, and the report sits on your website in the form of a web page with a PDF download. Denise, I see your hand up. You're on mute.
What's the value of Substacks and writing in Substack?
Look, Substack and Medium, ideally what you want to do is you want to build your own, they are all public platforms, and what you want to do is you want to build your own newsletter follow-up. You can think of it as your newsletters directly delivered via Substack or medium.com. If people subscribe to that, they can get it delivered rather than you going after a third-party vendor or running your own newsletters. I get a lot of newsletters from Substack because it kind of is very popular. I don't get any from medium.com, but a lot of SEO guys use Substack for their newsletters. So that's a good one. It's a good platform, but the links actually don't deliver any value to you. And then the other thing that you can do is you can actually have people paying to read your content as well on Substack. You can actually get that done as well. I hope that answers your question, Denise. And the next question was from Enrico, who is actually present with us today. Can you explain how Source Bottle works for PR outreach? So if you don't know what Source Bottle is, I would highly recommend each one of you to sign up as a source on Source Bottle. So Source Bottle sends you 2 emails every single day, one around 10:30 in the morning, and the second one around between 2:30 and 3 p.m. That is a media call out. So when media is looking for sources, they submit it via Source Bottle and you reply to that call out, and you have a chance of getting your content A, featured, and B, linked as well, and also photographed as well. We have achieved multiple PR publications just by responding to these call outs because we read every single one of their emails every single day. It only works Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So if you have, it's completely free of cost. And I highly recommend anyone who has not used it to kindly log in and actually use it. But sign up as a source. Okay. So I hope this answers your questions from February 2025, Enrico. Right. So Karen had a question on technical SEO. What pages should be indexed and which ones should be blocked? And also what exactly is EEAT? I think these questions are really important, these 3. The only questions, your sales pages should be indexable. And there is no place for your thank you pages, your privacy policies, or your shopping carts, or your terms and conditions to belong on Google. Google is not going to serve them at all. You need to have them, but you don't need to get them indexed. Only your sales related pages should be indexable by search engines. That's a blanket rule for any content that you are comfortable being visible on search engines, do it. Any content that adds no value to a user, don't do it. Now, the second bit of the question, EEAT, is very important, which is, and I'm not sure, let's have a quick show of hands if you guys know what EEAT is. Okay, so it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now, I did a LinkedIn post about last week about trust, which is a foundation for all transactions, be it personal or professional. If there is no trust, there is no transaction. So ideally, what you want to do is you use your experience, your expertise, your authoritativeness to build trust, which leads to an actual transaction, which helps your SEO. How it works is, let me give you a couple of examples to explain this point. I have been in the SEO industry for over 20 years. All of a sudden, if I call Nick or David or Roya or Roland and I'll tell you, hey, if I start advising you on vacuum cleaners, none of you would actually end up buying a vacuum cleaner from based on my advice, because I've got no knowledge of vacuum cleaners. No knowledge of vacuum cleaners. I've got no experience, no expertise, no authority to talk about vacuum cleaners. This is rubbish. But if you have a friend or a family friend or a person from your family that tells you that, on a Sunday barbecue or any lunch or whatever, that, hey, I'm using this vacuum cleaner that I bought about 6 months ago, and it's the best piece of $500 or whatever that money is. I've invested in it. And if you are in the market for a vacuum cleaner, you should look at it. You would consider their advice. And the reason why you would consider their advice would be based on experience, their first-hand experience of using a product or a service. You can think of it like a word of mouth. Hey, we've been using Denise's one of the 4 businesses services. We are very happy with it. That's experienced. That does a lot of things. And that leads to trust. Again, if you have, again, how do you build an authority? So the type of content that you publish, say, for example, on different channels, your website, your LinkedIn platforms, or whatever platforms is applicable to you, or what others are talking about you. So, you may have a media coverage, you may have something where your content is being referenced. That gives you the authority to talk about it, which leads to trust. And that is what Google or main search engines are looking at. I hope that explains EEAT. It's a very big topic, but the first EEA leads to trust, and trust is the nucleus of the nucleus of the entire system. So really, really important for you to have your experience, expertise, and authoritativeness sorted out. The best example is, if you go to any publisher's website, you will see the content was written by this person, it was reviewed by this person who has this authority. Some of the publishers have gone on to extreme lengths to focus on EEAT. And it's a topic in itself. Maybe we should do a webinar on it, on how some quick wins on EEAT that you guys can use. But really, really, really important topic. And the other question was received from Greg. It says, Bing says I have many duplicate pages because it's finding both HTTP and HTTPS versions. How do I fix this? Again, it's a very platform specific fix. So I won't go into the fixes itself, but I can tell you straight away that if Google is finding both HTTP and HTTPS, that means you have a HTTP to HTTPS redirection issue straight away. Google should not be able to find, or Bing should not be able to find HTTP versions, because most search engines moved away from HTTP to HTTPS many years ago, I think about 7 now. So you should not be focusing on those ones. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you look at your HTTP to HTTPS redirections. It's a very platform specific issue. So Shopify has different issues, WordPress has different issues, your Wixes have different issues. All of them have different issues. But the core it is redirection issues. Then, okay, so this is a very interesting one. This came from Berry. How do I properly read and interpret the GSC performance report? Now, GSC performance report is by default, it's the worst piece of graph that I've seen, because they don't tell you the full story at all. And the reason why that is, most businesses that are present in the room today are selling either locally or nationally. So either they are selling within Australia or they're selling it within locally. So the performance report by default does not have a country filter for Australia. So what you're looking at is the data for rest of the, whether your website appears in the US or not, it doesn't make a difference if you're not selling to the US. So why do you want to look at it? So the first thing that I would do is set up a country filter, unquestionable. The second thing that you want to do is take away your branded searches. Now don't use the inbuilt filter, because the inbuilt filter is so notoriously wrong. We were playing with it yesterday on some of our client sites, and it uses AI to identify what your brand is, and it just removes all the branded queries. What you want to do is, say for example, if say my agency is called UR Digital. So what I would do is just remove UR. But if I remove UR, it removes every keyword with UR. So I have a kind of a typical issue. So if I exclude my name, then I can see that, okay, so I'm only interested in the non-branded searches. The other thing is you want to do is you want to look at page-wise filter. So filter per page, don't filter per query. That's a better metric to look at how your individual pages are performing. The other thing that you can do is do a apple on apple comparison. So do a comparison, start with 3 months, go down to 28 days, go down to 7 days to gauge whether your rankings have improved or declined, or what's the trajectory of that ranking. The other thing, Google Search Console does not report on AI overviews and AI mode within the Search Console itself. It does not. However, if you want to know your position on AI mode and AI overviews, the only way you can find that out is via your BigQuery export, which is another can of worms, but it's doable. Pretty straightforward, but it's doable. But it can be a very costly exercise. BigQuery setup, it takes about a couple of hours to set it up. But once you have it up and running, you can get up to 50,000 keywords per day, as opposed to 1,000 or 1,500 what GST gives you in your UI UX reports. Might be beneficial for a lot of people in the room. Now, the other one was from Prashant. Does Google still use the disavow file, or does it detect bad links automatically now? So the answer is Google does a very good job at detecting dirty backlinks. They do a very good job at it. So you actually don't need to use a disavow file. However, that being said, if you still believe that Google has not identified or has not used your removed your dirty backlinks association, then you can use a disavow file. There is no harm in doing that. But generally speaking, in 99% of the cases, there is no reason why you should focus on using the disavow file. Google does a very, very, very good job at it. Now I see we only have 6 minutes, so I'm going to skip over some of the questions. And I really want to go down to some of the stuff that I had written down. And you'll get the slide deck tomorrow. And I'll try to answer some of them in those ones, or maybe send a link to the recording. Actually, this is a good question from Anon, which is, where can I find past presentations or recordings? I'm struggling to take notes. So within about a couple of months' time, there will be a dedicated learning management portal where you will be able to log in and look at all the past recordings of each individual webinars. That's coming in the new year. And that also tells you what I'll be building during the Christmas break. Now, I also want to talk about some misconceptions here, really important. If anyone is working on 10 or 15 keywords, and this is a interesting one. I was actually doing a consulting session with one of the clients, and I gave them some homework to do some keyword research. And in the next follow-up session, I asked them, how many keywords did you come up with? And they said 10 or 15. I said, go back. If there is anything less than 500, I'm not talking to you. If anybody is working on less than 500 keywords, then the process is wrong. It's not going to deliver results. I can give it to you right away. If people are not experiencing results with SEO, that is because they are working on just 10, 15, 20, 50 keywords. Anything less than 500, you're in trouble already. The other one is an interesting one. Href, SEMrush, and Uber suggest keyword lists are all I need. This is an interesting one, and I should actually take that screenshot and I should put it up. So John Mueller is the search advocate at Google. And somebody asked John Mueller a question, and I think he gave the most funniest response I ever heard, which is, is domain authority a metric? So John Mueller said, yes, it is a metric, as it is an invented metric by Moz. So what that means is, don't look at all these tools. The main issue with the tools is they don't have 0-day searches. So what's happening on Google right now? Hrefs, SEMrush, or Uber Suggest or Moz, they have got no idea about it. And I want to give you an example. Think about this. In March of 21, if you did a search for coronavirus on Hrefs, SEMrush, or Uber Suggest, the search volume would have been 0 because they work on an algorithm. However, Google knew that the traffic is skyrocketing. It would have done a breakout on Google Trends. Remember, okay, another one, a very good example, which is a very sad incident happened last week. Hong Kong, there was a big fire in Hong Kong. If you do a search on Hong Kong fire on any one of these tools, they will have no idea about it. No idea about it. But the traffic on Google was skyrocketing. That's the problem with these tools out there. Now I see a message in the chat from Max, which is, upgrade as well. Could you please call me when convenient? Sure, Max, I can. Anna Maria is also typing. SEO comes in fixed ready-made packages. There are no packages. There are 11 people in the room right now. Each one of us are different. Each one of our businesses are different. So how can there be one package that suits all of us? It cannot. Bing doesn't matter. Just focus on Google. I don't know who said that, but whosoever is thinking like that, I think they're making the biggest mistake of their lifetime, because Bing data gets fed directly into OpenAI. In case you don't know, Microsoft owns 27% of OpenAI. And the last one is, if I hit rank number 1 on Google, I'm done. Now, this is a very interesting one. Very, very, very interesting one, because number 1 on Google might be number 7 on 6 or number 7, depending on how much data Google is feeding before you. There might be sponsored results. There might be AI overviews. By the time they get to number 1, people's consumption of content has already finished. Appetite for consumption of content has already finished. Now, I know we are only 2 minutes out, so I'm going to be very respectful of everyone's time. Very quickly, my biggest suggestion, and again, this is something that I say to everyone, my only prediction, and I would suggest, if you really want to succeed in 2026, I'm going to give you 3 things, and those 3 things are going to be very important. And this is something that we live by every single day, which is always focus on your customer, number 1. The second one is Google is not your customer. And the third one is keep it simple, stupid. Super important. Really, really, really important. So thank you, Roland. Thank you for joining us. And I see some questions. I will answer all of those questions, but in the interest of time, I just want to quickly see what am I missing. So that's all done. That's all done. So yes, so now I'm going to take the questions. And so this is the QR code. So we are taking a break in the webinars in January, but the next webinar will be on the 3rd of February. Same time, same place. The QR code is up on your screen, where we will talk about digital PR. Now I see a couple of questions. I see your hand, Denise. I'm just going to hold on for a minute. And there are some chats that I need to. So Anna Maria said, I'd like to be together. Yes, I know. I remember you, Anna Maria, really. And I still have those Bolero stuff with me at home. That's fine. I will give you a call after. Thank you. Roland is not here. So Sharon says, so is it a myth to have a high volume of subscribers, followers, likes, etc. for SEO influence? No, they are important, Sharon. So if you have a high volume of subscribers, followers, or likes, they do actually add value. That means people are liking your content. And remember, a lot of these, social media sites, they are their own search engines as well. So your Facebooks, your Instagrams, your LinkedIns, they are their own search engines as well. So it really is helpful. And whatever content the search engines are able to index, it does make a difference, because your UTM sources will tell you where your traffic is coming from, or your analytics report should tell you where your traffic to your website is coming from, because people may be sharing your content on different platforms. So yes, subscribers, likes, and followers, again, really important, but you want to also increase the number of people that share your content. Enrico, thank you for that. I hope that answers your question. Now, again, one more thing. Tomorrow you will receive a copy of the recording and the slide deck. And, there are only a few brave souls who have taken the time to submit a feedback. So I kindly request you guys to submit a feedback to the webinar. It's very important. Now, 2025 is behind us. We want to improve for 2026. But if you don't tell us what we need to improve, there is no way we cannot improve. We can only try to do what we do. Sorry, Denise, you had a question which I had not answered. So I'll take one last question before I let you all go.
Thank you. I actually put in the chat. What are you supposed to do with Bing?
So Bing is important. You need to, again, if you have not set it up, then I would suggest you need to set up Bing Webmaster Tools. And the first thing that you want to do is submit a sitemap. That's the first step that you want to do. Once you set up Bing Webmaster Tools for the first time, within 48 hours, you will see your data being populated on Bing Webmaster Tools. And my advice to you is use import your site from Google Search Console rather than setting up a new verification. Because as long as your site stays verified on Google, it will stay verified on Bing also. It just keeps a nice clean DNS records. And one more thing that I would suggest, again, this could be complex, but if you're not using it, you should set up Microsoft Clarity on your website as well. It allows you to stalk your users in the form of recording of user sessions directly within, and it's completely free of cost forever. Highly recommend you do that. And when your content changes, definitely you want to submit it on Bing Webmaster Tools and also on Google. I hope that answers your questions. Oh, thank you, Sharon, for your kind words. To everyone in the room, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, stay safe. And my favorite thing is be a little bit naughty, because too much nice nobody likes. So I like to be a little bit naughty, so be naughty. And Max says, yes, you will receive the recording unless you unsubscribe from our mailing list. Max, you will receive a copy of the recording. I will still double check on your comment and get back to you. But tomorrow, I will make sure that you receive a copy of the recording. Maybe you have marked my emails as junk emails. Maybe
Thanks,
not. Anyway,
Pulkit.
no
Thank
problem
you.
at all. Good luck. Good afternoon. Good luck with everything. Connect with us on LinkedIn or Facebook. And if you'd like to book a time with me, happy to always help.
Yes, I do. Pulkit, I'm ready for the next layer.
Awesome. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you once again for spending your time. Thank you once again for spending your hour with me. I know everyone is busy this time of the year, but enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you on the other side of 2025. Bye, guys.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye.
Pulkit,
Yes.
are you here? Are you like in Sydney or are you away?
No, I am in Sydney.
Oh, can I call you in a minute? I just got a couple of I'll just wait for a minute and then I'll ask you.
How about this, Denise? I'll give you a call back in about 5 minutes, if that is okay.
Perfect. You got my number?
I do.
Yeah.
I know
Okay,
where to
thanks.
find it.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
No worries, thank you. Anna Maria, I've got the QR code on your screen if you wanted to take it up. Awesome. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joy. I'm going to end the event now. 3, 2, 1, bye.